In one of the world's most advanced factories, a startup is working to ensure the future of electric cars is driven by China. NIO is described as China's Tesla. It produces electric SUVs for environmentally conscious millennials. Each vehicle comes with an artificially intelligent dashboard robot, access to drive through NIO power stations that swap out dead batteries, and exclusive NIO clubhouses. CEO William Li says NIO is more than a car.
NIO doesn't only want to be an electric car brand, but a lifestyle brand. We hope to create a community which starts from the car. It's about living well, living consciously, and creating a happy way of living.
That happiness is mostly for China's upper middle class. The ES6 and ES8 are priced between $40,000 to $70,000. Li says Chinese drivers are slowly seeing the benefits of owning an electric vehicle, but many still need to be convinced to make the switch from gas or diesel.
These days, people still aren't familiar with electric cars and can have some misunderstandings. We need to provide a better environment for customers so they can better understand the benefits.
Providing this better environment is exactly what the Chinese government is trying to do. Earlier this year, a state-owned fund injected NIO with $1.4 billion. And the government doesn't just support companies, it also incentivizes consumers. In Beijing, Zhu Mengxiao's electric car is worth about $30,000. But after government subsidies, she only paid $18,000. Zhu took me for a spin. In China, owning a car is one thing. Having the right to drive it can be another. To reduce overcrowding on roads, the government carefully manages license plates. Residents can only get one through a lottery, but the odds of winning are low if you're driving a gas guzzler.
It's like a real lottery. There's a chance that you won't win anything your whole life. When we first applied for a license plate, we were waiting a long time and didn't receive one for a gas-powered car. Only after the exceptions appeared for electric cars could we buy this car.
Zhu received her electric car license plate within a few months. She was initially worried about the car's battery life, but says the pros outweigh the cons.
With more advanced technologies, more people are likely to choose electric cars, especially since the price of gas fluctuates and often jumps. Electric cars can be cheaper to use and more eco-friendly.
Putting more eco-friendly cars on China's roads is critical. Just outside Beijing, a coal plant belches smoke, a reminder that China remains the world's largest emitter of greenhouse gases. 2/3 of China's electricity comes from coal. And it often leads to days like this. Reducing air pollution is central to China's campaign to make cars green, says industry analyst Qiu Kaijun.
The government's goal of cutting emissions is aligned with its promotion of the electric vehicle industry. In total, there are about 400 million vehicles in China, and every day they produce a huge amount of emissions. If a number of those become electric, then it will have a great impact.
Electric cars are also key to reducing the country's reliance on foreign oil, says government advisor Wei Jianguo.
China is a country with few resources. Local production doesn't meet the country's needs, so China needs electric cars. Since encouraging them, we reduced petrol consumption by 9 million tons.
That's a reduction of less than 1%. But with public transportation increasingly going green, that figure is set to grow. Top-selling electric vehicle manufacturer BYD has turned the southern metropolis of Shenzhen into the world's first city to rely only on electric buses. Shenzhen alone now operates more electric buses than every city in the world outside of China combined. BYD is also greening the city's taxi fleet. Almost all of the city's 22,000 cabs are electric. But some drivers wish they weren't forced to make the switch.
Electric taxi drivers definitely earn less because it takes several hours to recharge the car. Sometimes we have to wait in line. 2 months ago, I waited in line 1 hour or more for a charging station. Then it took me 2 hours to recharge. Those are hours I could have been working.
But he has no choice. The central planners of China's government say they're committed to ensuring the electric vehicle market becomes a world leader. This year, China imposed an emissions credit system that requires car manufacturers to reduce emissions below a certain level or pay for credits from other companies. That's an expenditure they want to avoid, so they're being compelled to go more green, and that applies to domestic and international companies. At a plant in Foshan in China's south, German automaker Audi is building its first fully electric car designed especially for the Chinese market. Audi plans to launch 30 hybrid and electric models around the world by 2025. China is Audi's biggest market, and China's drive for new energy vehicles, or NEVs, is impossible to ignore, says Director Executive Heinz Philippassen.
This is a key element here in China, so it would be a very big risk not to be able to offer NEV technology in Chinese market. So for us, not acceptable. We sell more than 30% of our cars. We target to have 40% of our cars sold in China. So for us, it's a key market.
Audi isn't the only global brand lining up to comply with China's E-strategy. Ford and General Motors will also launch electric models made specifically for the Chinese market by the end of this year, while Tesla's first factory outside the US is nearing completion in Shanghai. But for Chinese brands, there have been some speed bumps. NIO is struggling with months of sluggish sales and reports of battery fires. The company has had to fire 10% of its workforce. And across the country, a weakening economy has reduced auto sales, including a 7% slump in electric vehicle sales. It hasn't helped that consumer subsidies began being scaled back in June, driving up the cost to buy one. NIO CEO William Li downplays concerns. He says his company and the electric industry overall are just starting to get on the road.
The car industry is constantly changing. There are always new challenges. We have more and more customers, and their situation is changing too. It is not easy, and it takes time.
But government regulations and a massive market will help ensure momentum toward green cars. And that policymakers in Beijing, not Washington or California, are in the driver's seat. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Katrina Yu in Hefei.